we have a loud round of applause for Dr. Meenakshi Ramesh, Director, Curriculum R&D, Vels Group of Schools, Chennai, on the topic, a very apt topic, from chalkboards to AI, the digital transformation of school education. Once again, can we have a louder round of applause, everyone?
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, a very happy morning, and thanking the Almighty for bringing all of us here together for a very purposeful, meaningful interaction and partnership. And I would want to delve and dive deeper into the topic that I said, meaningful, purposeful interaction. With whom am I going to do this interaction? With the audience here as what? Taking the role as what? And let me thank Mr. Gulati for giving me this excellent opportunity and also making me understand why this 9 plus 1. Plus 9, 1. See, every logo has its own importance. And when you look into the story, and there begins the creativity, the intention behind starting some purposeful collaboration and organization, an institution, for that matter, creating an identity for one's own self. And when they said I have to be giving the keynote address and the topics were given to me, from chalkboard to the AI and the digital transformation in education, I said I would love to talk on this. Because for a person like me, born in the 50s, and still I've had the privilege of equipping, enhancing myself to even compete with the Gen Z students now. Yes, we are never outdated, and we will never let that happen. If there is curiosity, enthusiasm, and say with that wow factor, oh, there is so much to interact with the chalkboard and the chalk piece and the AI, then how do I do that? Way back in 1974, 77, when I started my career, chalk piece was the powerful tool for me. Not because it was an advanced tool, but it made me face the students very confidently. And over a period of time, you would have seen some of the clippings. And I could gather some of the evidences as how I started and how pathetic I looked myself at my attire, but then the information that was conveyed, the information that we learned together was more powerful than standing in front of an interactive AI panel. Then I said, should I go back to the days when my teachers inspired me to take into this teaching profession? There were many who were using even the last piece of dust that fell on the blackboard to teach me how to draw patterns. Now the AI people working with the tools look at nature for patterns, but the teacher taught me how to draw even with the dust of chalk piece that fell on the rim of the blackboard, and then threw bits of chalk pieces on all of us who were not little attentive. And that made me feel, hey, there is some sort of a life inside the classroom. And with the AI panel now, the dashboard glaring at you, the participants show 92% engagement. They submit work on time. Everything is happening. But then this is a real story. Recent times when I started interacting with my own students, to feel the rapport and to remain in touch with the students, I always have the classes taken. So when I told them, it shows 92% engagement, are you all okay today? But then one of the students stayed back after the bell rang. And when I looked into the dashboard giving me the statistical details of the attentiveness, I do not know, the submission of work, engagement on the tool, completion of task, submission of task was 92%. But why is this child sitting after my class? And then the child says, ma'am, today I was not all up to myself to listening to whatever was happening or even putting myself 100% into the submission of work that was electronically digitalized, electronically concised. It was all pre-confined data that was there. With that, I could not engage myself fully because my father was hospitalized in the morning. This was one of the recent incidents that I had with the group of children in the class. Then, how do I know when do I have to pause? When do I have to tell a story? When do I have to be in the class when things are alive in the class? When do I make that happen? Then the song came into my mind. Andanal, ஞாபகம் நெஞ்சிலே வந்ததே ஏன் 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 நண்பனே நீங்களாம் இப்போ நண்பன் எனக்கு இந்த நாளன்று போல் இன்பமாய் இல்லையே அது ஏன் ஏன் நண்பனே இந்த கொஸ்டின் என் மைண்டில் வந்தது याद आ रही है तेरी याद आ रही है तेरी जाने से मेरे आने से जान जा रही है இது சாக் பீஸை பொறுத்து நீ போயிட்ட உன் ஞாபகம் வந்தால் எனக்கு ரொம்ப வருத்தமாக இருக்குன்னு ஹிந்தியில் இது வந்து ஒரு லவ் சாங் பட் ஐ எம் டெடிகேட்டிங் இட் டு the chalk piece. Now I'm getting into a conversation. Now I am going to play the role of a teacher and all of you there are the audience. I said I have to go with the scripted conversation that I said I should have with the chalk piece. Then this topic made me do some research. And as I said, it's a dialogue on learning, purpose and partnership. With whom? But all of you are representing the artificial intelligence and I am the teacher. I'll just take 2 minutes to end up this dialogue. This made me become a little more creative. I said, yes, let me still see. I can override AI, how I can make myself sure that I am going to use AI better, or I am going to be still making this learning very purposeful, or I am going to engage with AI. Are you all ready to take the role of the artificial intelligence? 2 minutes of the dialogue. Ready? I will not ask you to say. The dialogue is already scripted, so I will speak that. Now, I am the teacher here. People keep asking whether you, the artificial intelligence, imagine you are the artificial intelligence, will replace me. I have spent years inside classrooms shaping not just minds, but values, character, and purpose. Teaching is deeply human. All of us agree on that. It involves empathy, intuition, and moral judgment, as I told you with a small incident. Can an algorithm truly understand a learner's fear, motivation, and struggle that is hidden inside as the child walks into the classroom? Now comes your dialogue, the artificial intelligence. I understand your concern. I do not claim to possess emotions or moral reasoning in the human sense, no. However, I can analyze vast amounts of data to personalize learning paths, identify gaps in understanding, and provide instant feedback. And research shows that adaptive learning technologies can significantly improve learner outcomes when instruction is tailored to individual needs. That's what the AI says. It is customized. You have the individual instructions. This is a research done by Lakin in the year 2016. Now, me as a teacher here, personalization is valuable, I agree, but learning is not merely cognitive. Students need encouragement, discipline, and a sense of belonging. I notice when a learner is silent because of anxiety, family problems, or lack of confidence, social and emotional learning, which strongly influences academic success, depends on authentic human relationships. This is a research done by Durlach in the year 2011. Then the artificial intelligence, you all represent artificial intelligence. Oh, that's true. I cannot replace human connection. However, I can support it by automating the routine tasks such as checking quizzes, organizing records, or generating the practice materials. I free you to focus on what? On mentoring, counseling, and creative instruction. And studies suggest that artificial intelligence can reduce the teacher workload and burnout when used appropriately. This is by OECD 2011. Now, as a teacher, I interrupt. But education also involves ethical formation. I model integrity, fairness, and responsibility through daily interactions, and learners observe how I handle mistakes, conflicts, and diversity of opinions. And teaching is not only about what is taught, but how it is lived. Now comes the artificial intelligence. I acknowledge, yes, that ethical modeling belongs to humans. My strength lies in consistency, availability, and access. I can support learners at any time and anywhere, especially those who lack the additional academic support at home. In under-resourced settings, AI-powered tools can help bridge learning gaps by providing the supplementary instruction, and this is by UNESCO. Now, as a teacher, I say, access is important. You have the resources, you have the access, but I need to have the participation in using the tools to judge the progress, which is not happening in our country because of the rural-urban divide. I say there is a huge divide, and when I have to have the resources, my participation is not up to 100%. My progress is not as what you promise as providing everything as when we talk about equality, equity, and just education. The artificial intelligence says you are correct. I operate within the limits of my design and data. Biases in algorithms and unequal access of technology remain serious concerns, and that is why human oversight is essential. When teachers guide how AI is used, the institutions can be addressed responsibly. This is by Williamson, who did a research in 2020. Now, as a teacher, I become little proud enough to say, I pull up my collars and say, then perhaps the real issue is not competition, but purpose. Do you all agree? Yes. I inspire curiosity and the critical thinking and lifelong learning. I help students ask questions, meaningful questions, not just find answers with the tools. That's what most of us do now. You're all using ChatGPT like Google. No. In 2030, if you know how to manipulate and maneuver with the tools, you don't have to invest on AI panels. Let me tell you that. You know how to maneuver your tasks, you know where to look out for what, and it is a personal invention and intervention in using and navigating this. The artificial intelligence says, I help learners explore information efficiently, of course, simulate complex ideas, yes, and practice skills repeatedly without judgment. And when guided by teachers, I become a tool for deeper inquiry rather than shallow learning. I think all this helped me because I knew where to look out for, how to present myself, and how to make it little more different when a presentation has to be done. As a teacher, I say, yes, we as teachers agree that learning thrives not in choosing between us, but in combining our strengths. And the artificial intelligence now says, yes, you bring humanity, wisdom, and values, and I bring efficiency, scalability, and data-informed support. And together, we can create learning environments that are inclusive, a broad term to be understood little more deeper by all of us here as academicians. When I say inclusive, please go home and ponder. I have a lot to understand on this term. Responsive, again a question mark for us to ponder, and future ready. What do we mean by future ready? How are we ready as an individual? Where is the change within me happening? Am I ready to be even talking about the components of artificial intelligence? Is it just a single term, or do I have many fringes and frills attached to artificial intelligence? Even if I were to delve deeper, is it just the tools? No. Then how do I equip myself? So the artificial intelligence says, I bring in the efficiency, scalability, and data info support. And as a teacher, I then end up saying, yes, then let us move forward, not as rivals. Let's have a handshake, win-win. Let us become pro in making use of each other, like how I had mentioned, I use the blackboard. I would still go in for a blackboard. The contrast, the black and the white can never replace the color, because all the colors go and infuse with the black and white. If you look into the science, it is always the black and white. The rest of it all is the elimination that you get and how you make colors out of the black and white. Even now you have fascination to make your photos look as black and white and post it in all media as to how beautiful you look in black and white. Then let us move forward not as rivals but as partners in education, always placing the learner at the center. Sometimes I become the learner, sometimes the person at the other end, receiving end, becomes the learner. So let us have a very purposeful, meaningful, and intentional partnership with the AI. It is just not the word, it is just not the term. It is beyond that, and when a structured board is still utilized along the AI, I still bring in life into the classroom, because Blackboard is not just a surface, but it humanizes the learning. With these few words, I will always hold the chalk piece in my hand and see it is not dustless or the green, the black and white. Still learn how to use the stick diagrams, still learn how to have my creativity shown on the blackboard, still give time for my own thinking, and I can go on recalling incidents when we were taught skills with the teachers, utilizing the blackboard to improve upon labeling, drawing, making graphical presentations. I'm saying even we did not have the geometrical tools. The teacher was so adept with her psychomotor skills, and that inspiration, that motivation of a teacher can happen only when a teacher has those attributes. For her to have the curiosity, oh, it's like that. So way back, 10 years back, I had written a small article in this book, Tips and Toes. Is Blackboard just a blackboard? If you get time, I have this on the Amazon. I will have the link shared. Please go through that. Is Blackboard just a blackboard? With that question, I end up this note for giving me this excellent opportunity. Let's ponder over this and make our lives colorful. Yes, இந்த நாளும் அந்த நாள் போல் இனிமையாகவே அமையட்டும். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.